very special guest, I'm going to check if she's here. She will be hovering above us like a left-wing deity, I think. Is that right, via Skype? Or is she going to suddenly magically appear on the screen? Ooh, the suspense. Who am I looking at? Yes! I can see you, Naomi, yes! So we can see you properly, bear with me. I hope you heard that love from Liverpool. There's a lot of love for you here.
I'm wearing my brightest, most blinding red.
It's certainly... Is there a contrast button? Sorry. Naomi, to speak personally, was, for me, a huge inspiration, I'm sure, for so many other people in this room. In the 1990s in particular, I'm making you feel old now. In the late 1990s, when, at a time, neoliberalism was so hegemonic, it was the time of then is no alternative, the end of history, the left seemed to be completely defeated and smashed, and she was one of the few voices with a platform to articulate an alternative. We saw the rise of the anti-globalisation movement at the time, and her work, like No Logo and so on, was so much tied to that, and she's remained a huge inspiration for global movements. So we're so lucky to have her here in Liverpool with a very, very bright red coat. Now, Naomi, I'm just going to kick things off with some general questions and you can have a little discussion. We saw this summer fire in the Arctic circles. There was trees burning down in the Arctic circles, that's where we are. Extreme weather across the globe. Can you spell out for us the scale of the climate crisis that faces humanity at the moment?
Okay, well, we'll start on a cheery note.
Yeah, I thought so. Start with that and then we'll cheers us.
Well, first I just want to say how delighted I am to virtually be with all of you. When I was able to be with you physically last year at conference, I think the last line of my speech was something like, "You've shown us you can win, now you have to win." No pressure. I know these have been a difficult few months. The smears, the attacks, and so on are relentless. But I think when we listen to the voices on this panel, listen to Jackie, listen to Bonnie, listen to the stakes in these struggles and in their urgency in the quest for deep transformation in Britain and around.
She'll be back. I'm confident. Naomi?
To win, yeah.
Sorry, it was a slight technical hitch there. Okay. 1 second. Carry on. We'll get through this.
Am I freezing in really unflattering ways?
No.
Don't do this to me. I'll just be really careful what facial expressions I make.
There are people taking pictures, but carry on.
Okay. So, I don't believe in a hierarchy of crisis. I don't believe that we should be saying, that climate change is more urgent than the fight against poverty or the fight for racial justice or for the fight for universal good health care. It's all urgent. So what we need are to find solutions that address multiple crises at once, and we can come back to that. But the urgency of the climate crisis is undeniable. We're reminded of this every summer, which is now the season of disaster. I know you had record-breaking heat in the UK and experienced this, and you've had flooding in recent years. You mentioned the fires. We've had record-breaking fires this summer, last summer, from California to Siberia to Greenland, and of course these record-breaking storms. And just in recent weeks, we should be thinking about people in the Carolinas, in Kerala, in the Philippines, who are all still digging out from record-breaking storms. And every storm that we are seeing now is being supercharged by climate change. So it's not to say that there would not have been a typhoon or there would not have been a hurricane. But every storm that comes now comes from an ocean that has a warmer baseline, and it rises from an ocean that already has elevated. So every storm is unnatural. So even though we refer to these still as natural disasters, they're actually unnatural to start with. And the same is happening with forest fires, right? Forest fires are a natural part of the forest cycle, right? I mean, burning is not necessarily a disaster. Within forest management, it makes room for new growth. But the kinds of wildfires that we are seeing are supercharged by drought and supercharged by that baseline of higher temperatures. And so we are seeing very unnatural forest fires. So all of this is confirming what we were warned about from climate scientists, but even a lot of the climate scientists who warned us about this are alarmed at the speed with which we're seeing glacier melt, with which we are seeing their worst forecasts come to reality. So I was just on Thursday night in New York City at a gathering of hundreds of people to mark 1 year since Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. And I remember when I was at conference last year, Puerto Rico was still in the throes of that disaster, and FEMA still hadn't figured out how to get them aid, if you recall. What we know now is that cost thousands of lives. There are debates whether it's 3,000 or 5,000 or maybe even more. The responsibility for those deaths is not only climate change. These storms, a storm like Hurricane Maria, would have sent any society reeling. But what really turns these storms into a catastrophe is the intersection of austerity, white supremacy, the fact that not every life is treated of equal value, right? So if you were in a majority black and brown part of the world, you were not going to receive the same response as if you were in a wealthier white area. And we saw this in the response to Hurricane Katrina. But the other thing that Puerto Rico really underlines is how vulnerable the logic of austerity, the reality of austerity makes a society, right? And Puerto Rico gives us a very acute illustration of this, because before Hurricane Maria hit, Puerto Rico was subject to some of the most brutal neoliberal austerity, very similar to Greece. They had an economic crisis that started in 2006, and this was leveraged to just cut every aspect of the public sphere and privatize everything, and really just to the bone. So, for instance, we know that Puerto Rico was in the dark for months and months and months. They just had electricity restored and it isn't stable. But what isn't talked about is that in the years before Maria, thousands of skilled electrical workers were laid off. Basic repairs and modernizations to the grid weren't done. And so, I think in the UK you've experienced some of this, where you have firefighting has been cut back, storm defense has been cut back, and first responders have been cut back, and then you have these record-breaking storms, and that's really what turns it into a catastrophe. What Jackie was just talking about with Grenfell, that wasn't a climate change-related fire, but we certainly see just the enormous human costs of this logic of cutting and privatizing to the bone. So this is just one example of the way we need to make the connections between different movements and have a really interesting.
In terms of struggles across the world, struggles for climate justice, against the climate crises, and the interlocking crises, what are this gathered room of people who are here because they want to change the world, what are your thoughts on strategies, ideas in the coming years?
Well, we need to be doing a lot all at once. I think one of the first things we need to understand is that we can't wait for this sort of moment off in the future when we take power to begin changing. We need to begin changing wherever we have levers of power. So we need a strategy for taking power. but we also need to be looking at the areas where that power, where it is possible to begin right now. And so that might be at a city level. There is a Labour government in London. London can do more. London can become a beacon for a rapid transition to 100% renewable energy with justice at its center. And so one of the dangers of Trump, right, is that everybody looks good in comparison to Trump, right? And so, that can create kind of moral hazards for progressive leaders who are able to very...
Don't tell her. She loves the turbs. She'll be back. Let's have a big round of applause as you have a round of applause. Sorry, you froze there slightly. Carry on. Sorry, Naomi, go on.
Terrified. Okay.
Go for it.
Well, I was just talking about the moral hazard of Trump for the sort of pseudo-progressives like Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, for instance, who's able to position himself as a kind of an anti-Trump by sending out a few memes, right? But his climate record is absolutely abysmal. He purchased an oil pipeline in order to push it through against against the express demands of Indigenous people for that pipeline not to cross their territory. A pipeline carrying very dirty oil from the Alberta tar sands. I think that what we need to be doing everywhere where a sort of Trump isn't in power, whether it's in a city or whether it's in a country or whether it's in a state or a province, is hold these leaders to a higher standard and demanding divestment from all fossil fuels and demanding that they use all their levers of power to get us to 100% renewable energy with justice at the center, right? So that means that the communities that have had the dirtiest industry in their backyards need to have the resources to own and control their own renewable energy projects or whatever the green industry is, and maybe it can be owned cooperatively. And so we need these types of models, as well as a strategy for taking power forward at the national level. I also think we need to be making the connections more and more between climate change and mass migration. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing a rise of increasingly overtly fascist leaders at a time when people know, even if they deny the reality of climate change, that we're going to be seeing more and more people on the move. We don't right now have international laws protecting the rights of climate migrants. And so I think this is something that social justice movements, particularly those that are internationally minded, like the World Transform, we need to be talking more and more about the rights to move. And another thing I would just say is, to quote Rob Emanuel, well, I won't quote him, but, as you all know, I've been writing a lot about what happens in moments of crisis and how the reins are often seized by the absolute worst people on the planet to push through an agenda that further enriches the already obscenely rich and seizes more power for the already powerful. And we're already seeing talk of this in the context of Brexit, right? And how, economic crisis in the UK can be seized to push through an absolutely brutal agenda of further deregulation and privatization. I think we need to do a better job of seizing moments of crisis. And, I'm reminded, listening to Jackie again, those moments when the brutality of the system is absolutely laid bare, right? And people's human reactions are awakened and they want to help. Those are the moments where we need to pivot to very bold demands, like the right to decent and affordable housing for every single human being.
Just finally, Naomi, before the connection collapses, this has all been fantastic. fantastic. Now, we may well have a socialist government in this country, who knows, in the next few months. Now,
do it.
I have a sneaking feeling that global capital might have one or two objections to such a government. What do you think the strategy will be? I mean, in terms of the sort of attack that will happen, and how important, therefore, will it be to build an international movement in support?
Well, it is tremendously important, and I'm reminded last year at conference the way the press distorted conversations, right? Where people were just trying to have clear-eyed discussions about the reality that we know there will be a response from international markets if a Corbyn government is elected to try to scare people, right? So, I'm a little bit worried about even my own words being taken out of context. But suffice it to say that world markets will respond to a Corbyn victory. And that we have to prepare for that. We also have to be talking about the fact that there's going to be, the truth is that there's going to be a strong market response to failed Brexit negotiations regardless, right? So I guess what we need to also be talking about is that the context in which a Tory government would likely collapse is an economic context that is very hard for any government that would take power after that, right? I mean, they tend to pass, in the same way that women often are brought in to clean up the messes of men and corporations. Socialists are often brought in to clean up the messes of capitalists, right? So we have to be very clear in our analysis around when the crisis actually started and who and what precipitated the crisis, because of course it will take no time to blame it on Corbyn, whether or not there was a further capital strike in response to a Corbyn government. So that that clarity and the international solidarity will be tremendously important. But I think the more, the reason I focus on shocks and the reason why shocks are an opportunity for the right is because it's about bad things happening that people don't yet understand. It's important to understand that a shock is not just a bad thing happening. It's a bad thing happening for which we don't yet have analysis, and that takes us by surprise, and it's in that gap between event and narrative that it's possible for really bad actors to enter into that gap and say, this is why it happens, and this is what we're going to do to respond. If we have our own narrative before that shock comes, then we're much better defended.
Honour. I can't even speak anymore. It's been a massive honour, and in the coming months, your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience will be invaluable for our movement. Please, everyone, give a big round of applause.